What inspired me to write about Jimmy Conter? First, it is because of my curiosity to know about our historical development as a Rwanda people, to know our culture and how it can be externalized and be part of the global trend of globalization. When I was in secondary school in the 70s, I enjoyed Jimmy Conter as one of the high life musicians in Igbo ethnic nationality. I was highly captivated and motivated by the philosophical load his lyrics were carrying, especially a track on airport, which was viral in the whole of River State. I was also captivated by another track which was titled Ruhore Jimmy Were Olubo, which was a folklore story which demonstrated to a large extent the deep cultural underpinning of Ikwere people as storytellers and farmers. You know that these stories are told at the end of the farming day. After eating in the evening, 7 to 8, children will stay by the moonside and elders will be telling their stories. I was so happy with the story, especially the structure, the construction, and the end. Because Jimmy Conter had a larger following, especially among the youth. And his lyrics were so much acceptable to the society. He was like a mirror, sieving out the rottenness and the social vices in the society, and morally making a critique of what was happening in the society and also showing us the way to go. As I said about airports, and he used that occasion to tell young ladies at that time when two things were paramount: the wearing of mini skirt by women and also wearing of trousers, which was in vogue in the 1960s. Although it was limited within a limited circle of women we call the high class ladies, or those we call the college girls. But Jimmy saw it as part of the degeneracy in the society and used it to preach that this thing should stop in form of airport because of the negative consequences that arise from it. I also was attracted by one of his lyrics, which his members told me was their debut, their first outing. It is called Introduction. He used it to eulogize his native home called Odoha in Emoba. He also used it to introduce his members. For instance, he would say, I will call on the boss of Odoha Emoba from my right to my left. And he will also talk about what I would call Odoha personality. Eleman Majino Odoha. So that thing created an awareness, created a curiosity in people. Why is this place called Odoha? And I want to tell you now that many people went there to look for wives and even girlfriends, just to discover the land of Jimmy Conter. And lastly, he was younger than majority. So people follow, he had a large follower. And his voice was as sharp as a pin. His voice was as sharp as a canary bird. There was a competition by many people, including Obakikwere. At that time, they organized a competition where he won. And that was why he had a title called Ezagala. So when you hear Jimmy Conter, the Ezagala is his title. Ezagala means the king of music. especially the Eriobo genre of music. Musicians are spiritual beings. I want to look at them in that way. They are spiritual beings. It's like they are selected to perform a function, maybe vanish, just like any other person. Musicians, as I said, they mirror the rottenness in the society all over the world. They entertain, they educate, and they teach. Let me give you two examples. Bob Marley was a master in reggae music and used it as an instrument to mirror what was happening in their society, especially the bastardization of the society and the maltreatment of blacks. And all other musicians that followed, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff, they were always talking about what was happening in the Jamaican society and by extension, African society. You must have heard of somebody like Fela in Nigeria. Jimmy Conter was playing the same role because they were the same pedestal to reform the society, to entertain society, to redirect the moral fiber of the society. And long for a society where there have been no exploitation of man by man, where happiness will grow, where the society will strive for the common good, or what you may call the attainment of the social justice. So all these things are embedded, they are loaded in Jimmy Conter's songs. And if you read them from the beginning to the end, you will see the themes of spirituality, hard work, carefulness, leadership, morality, all are embedded in that book. So the book can be seen as a microcosm of all the virtues a man can acquire if you read the book. I am not saying that Jimmy Conter must have covered all aspects of life within his limited environment. Of course, he was a human being limited by time and space. But one thing that also interested me about Jimmy was that he didn't go to a secondary school. He didn't go to university. The way he narrated the first coup in Nigeria, which led to the Nigerian Civil War, the first coup took place January 16, 1966. And by July 6, 1967 or so, the Civil War took place. In one of the lyrics he sang, he called it Ogunbidole, and he narrated how the coup started, which snowballed into the second coup and eventually to the Civil War. Now, in writing the book, at a point I stopped and started ruminating, asking myself some inner questions. How did this man know this? The coup took place in Lagos, from Abeokuta down to Lagos. How did this man know this? I'm sure he didn't read any of the war memos or the coup memos, but he was able to give us graphic details of what happened. So these are the life of musicians. They tell us what is to happen based on with their own past experiences and the present experiences, and can make a futuristic broadcast or a futuristic analysis. So we learn from them. Their work is to tell us what has come to their mind. It is for us to pick or not to pick.